Hello and welcome to the Build With Baer Workshop. My name is Pat Baer. I'm here to build a model kit and to hang out with all of you. I'm going to throw the Bear Cave, the Lego to the site, the emote in the chat. If you're currently a subscriber, you can reply with those emotes. If you're not a subscriber, you can say hi or use other people's emotes, or you can choose to remain silent and just chill. Waiting for a few more friends in here. Aristofan is here. Hello, Aristofan. It's a Saturday night. We're going to be allow people to be fashionably late to the stream, and hopefully they'll come hang out. Thank you very much for being here, Aristofan. And you can see next to Aristofan's name, it says 1, because this month, Aristofan is gifted 1 subscription. Aristofan has gifted many subscriptions over the past several years, which is fantastic and generous of them. Lashbrook is here. Hello, Lashbrook. But yeah, we're currently at 45 out of 50 subscribers. You can see I got it around. If you want to gift a sub to somebody in the community, or if you'd like to subscribe yourself because you haven't, this would be a great time. Anytime would be a great time, but you know, when we're trying to hit that 50, that is also cool. As always, you don't have to subscribe. You don't have to join me on Patreon. You don't have to buy something off my wish list. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You being here means a lot, and I appreciate it very much. Also, you don't feel like you have to chat. You can be a lurker. You can just hang out and chat, and that's cool. If you do want to contribute conversationally, that's also great. Tonight, working on the Harute, the final battle version, but that's too long, so I don't write it. This is the Harute. It is a 2010 kit with new parts that were added in 2021. Basically, it doesn't have traditional legs. It's got GN drives, boosters for legs, and what it ends up happening is, 1, it needs a stand because it just doesn't stand on its own power. And 2, its transformation into its flying mode actually looks good. It doesn't look like it's just a mobile suit that is just laying on its stomach and then there are wings, like most transformations. Or that its legs just folded up and are now its... Look, I love the Epion. The Epion is a beautifully... fantastic design, but it does not look like a two-headed dragon that's flying. There's no way that's what it's supposed to invoke. That's not what it is. It's just flying with its legs pointed at where it's going. It just folds in half. Come on. I would say the Kyrios works pretty good because its shield is not... because it's part of its backpack becomes the cone, and its shield just attaches to the side. It's when the shield is supposed to be like the cockpit, not the cone, the cockpit. That doesn't work for me. So this jet actually looks pretty good because the legs look like they're parts of a jet. We're going to ways away from getting there, but we will get there. Tonight we will be chatting about some sad news in the world of wrestling. We might talk about a series of YouTubers that I like, but I don't like one of the recurring bits they do on there, and how, like, they don't need to know that, or the people that read their comments don't need to know my opinions of that, but I can tell you about it. It's really... the weather just sucks. We can talk about that. And because PAX East happens all the time in the spring, different weekends, I always have PAX East memories popping up on Facebook and people mentioning oh wow, it was such and such years ago on Twitter, because they have time hop and stuff. So I don't know, I got some PAX East memories we can chat about because I'm thinking about it. I'm not going to PAX East this year. It'll be the first in-person PAX East I've ever missed since it started. Because I've also been part of the PAX East Online and PAX East Online last year, 2021, because I was there in 2020. It was right before it was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have gone to this. That vibe where people were like, a lot of people didn't come to PAX this time around last minute. And, they canceled GDC. Uh-oh. So, yeah, I will be missing my first PAX East. And that's weird. I missed my first PAX Prime/West since I started going to PAXs last year. But that didn't feel as weird as missing packs, he said. So I don't know. We'll probably talk about that. We'll talk about stuff that's coming up that you want to chat about. Before we get into the building, I will just say right off the bat, as we allow people to be fashionably late and come to the stream and hang out, I will say right off the bat, the weather sucks here. It has been gale force winds, and that's not fun. Lots and lots of wind just blowing up. The temperature dropped. It was in the 70s yesterday. It is currently in the low 50s. It will be in the the mid 30s tonight, and that is too much of a change. My day tomorrow is gonna be weird. Not only because I am losing an hour, or I am paying back that hour that we gained before, because if you want to be pedantic about it, it's not that we lose an hour, it's that we gained an hour previously and we are giving back the hour that we gained. Whatever, I don't care. Daylight savings is happening, and it means that it'll go from 2 a.m. will become 3 a.m. or 1:59 a.m. will become 3 a.m. Whatever, you get my point. But that's going to be rough because I'm just going to be real tired. And also cold. These sudden temperature changes really fuck me up. Lastbrook says, yeah, we had wind chills in the 20s last night, but we'll be 80 on Monday. Well, Lastbrook, I'm glad you're back to 80. You're back to summer weather, basically. I rode my exercise bike today, and I had it's in the garage, and I had the garage door open, and the wind, I was just like, kept hearing it. I had to turn up my music because, or the podcast I was listening to, honestly, because the wind was so loud. I should have just put music on instead of trying to listen to a podcast over it. But you make mistakes. I'm gonna reply to my tweet with the actual address of this here channel. See if we can get a few more friends to join us tonight. Let's see. Oh yeah. Oh man. Look, there's a video game out there that's in early access. I think it's still in early access. I'm not going to tell you the name of it because I don't want to give them any advertisements, but it's made by one person, and that person should shut the fuck up. They have the right to say what's on their mind, but also they're tweeting through it, and it's not going good. Basically, they use their patch notes to complain about stuff, and often it's about people who are playing their game. Patch notes guy. Yeah, patch notes guy, Lashbrook. But recently it was like being anti-mask, and then people were like, review bomb. And like, look, do I like review bombs? No. Do I like them when they're dunking on fools? Yeah, but I'm petty. I'm a petty asshole, so don't necessarily. Apparently, there are also tweets. I don't want to get into it too much. I just noticed Eric Pope, a friend of the stream, Eric Pope, saying if I were running the Domina, it's called Domina game Twitter account, I would simply not keep tweeting. I think they are... yes. Yeah, he's just like quote tweeting people and being like, just idiots? Yeah, just idiots. Yeah. It's just like, shut the fuck up, man. I mean, look, who knows, right? Maybe this person, like, maybe Domina is an incredible game. But, like, even if you're right, you should shut up. Like, the finest gladiator management simulator in the world. Sure, but maybe you should shut up. Like, even if you are totally right, maybe people are picking up the game because it's getting noticed, and people are like, well, even if I don't agree with them, that sounds like a fun game. I'll check it out. Like, maybe it's working. Maybe it is true that all press is good press. But, as we've said before, and we will say again, nobody wants to be the main character on Twitter. Now, I'm paraphrasing something I saw the other day, which is everyone who gets viciously attacked on Twitter should have probably just gotten insulted by 5 of their friends. That is not the exact wording, but it generally is that like people who get like thoroughly dunked on don't deserve the amount of attention and vitriol they actually get. Clearly, some people want to be the main character on Twitter. Yeah, Wrist fan. Also, yes, people do. Some people do want to be the main character. They don't. They shouldn't want that, but they do want that. But yeah, I think that look, if you write like something like awful and weird, you put that out there. That's on you. But yeah, most of the time people need like text from their friends with just their name all in capital letters, just being like, "Come on." They don't necessarily need to be the main character and have to like shut down their accounts and disappear for a while because oh shit, I'm just being thoroughly dunked on. Like generally, a bad tweet does not mean that you should quit your job or you get fired. Sometimes it is warranted because it is the tip of the iceberg and it is part of a clearly learned behavior and like part of many things that have happened. But like, you know, sometimes it is overboard and it maybe should have just been several of your friends being like, hey man, first of all, grow the fuck up. And then secondly, your patch notes are not the place for your opinions on masks. Like, what are you talking about? You made a sim game on Steam. Calm the fuck down. You know, like, whatever. I don't know. Maybe more devs should be putting their opinions in their patch notes. They say that you can separate the art from the artist, but I will say when people show you their whole ass, you can use that information. You remember what their ass looked like. That's not how that phrase goes, but that's always how that phrase felt to me. It's like, yeah, people show you their whole ass. You know what their ass is. So, maybe this is a good thing. Maybe this person who was making a game that I've never heard of is doing everyone a goddamn favor. So congratulations to the maker of Domina for being just a complete waste of everyone's time. Anyway, I'm gonna change. Yeah. So weather's bad. That's bad. This is not a good transition. What also is bad is my thoughts and go out to the friends and also to himself, the man himself, to Big E, Etor, who is going to be out of wrestling for quite some time because he broke his neck last night on SmackDown. And that's unbelievably frightening and completely scary. He at the time a statement. He posted a video on Twitter, basically just being like, "Hey, so I don't feel weak right now. I have feeling in my hands and legs. I'm not he didn't say paralyzed, but he's implying that he's not paralyzed, or stating that he's not paralyzed. And he's like, but they tell me I broke my neck, so I'm gonna be out for a bit." Because the man is so positive, he wanted to make sure that people knew that like shit what had happened, which is unbelievable and I would say above and beyond. So my thoughts certainly go with him. Big E is an incredible wrestler, an incredible champion of numerous causes, very funny and nice person. I've never had the pleasure of meeting him, but I know many people who love him dearly. And so, yeah, complete, incredibly scary thing. There have been a lot of people landing on their necks this week in wrestling, and Big E didn't bounce right back from it, which is very frightening. And I hope that he, isn't, I hope that he makes a full recovery as soon as possible, and that he, is healthy. And if it is not something that he can bounce back from, I hope he takes the time to heal as much as he can. I hope that he doesn't feel obligated by anything to, get back in the ring or anything like that when he's not ready. And I hope that everything works out, because that, like I said, he's a real good dude. I want things to go well for him. But yeah, it is fucking frightening. It's pretty terrifying that happened. The fact that he doesn't need surgery is wild. Yeah, last work. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what that means. I don't know how that works. I hope he's okay. And I hope that he takes a lot of fucking time. And the only thing, look, if there is any bright side to this, and there isn't, but if there is one, it's that we're not talking as much about Pete Dunne's new name being awful, because the story of SmackDown is what happened to Big E, and not what would have been the story coming out of that, which is that they renamed Pete Dunne Butch. Now, they didn't just introduce him as Butch. They did say, "Oh, that's Pete Dunne," but me and Rod, we know him as Butch, as if that was his nickname that we just never used before, which is better than the Dewdrop thing where they had Piper Niven, aka Viper. They had Piper Niven, and then they just introduced her as Dewdrop as if she had never existed before. So it's better. It's still, the name Butch doesn't people put butts in seats. I don't know if Pete Dunne does, but I know that Butch doesn't. It's just another burial of a Triple H guy. It's just continuing to bury, and then in a couple months we're going to see the debut of Tits McGee. Tommaso Ciampa, the name that Tommaso Ciampa always wanted to go by, right? It's just it's just bad. It's just, Butch is a terrible name for Pete Dunne. It's just a terrible name. Oh, God. It's like the name of it's the name of a side character that the writers are letting you know won't be around for a long time because they didn't put any effort in naming it, right? If you hear oh yeah, that's my friend Butch, they didn't come up with a last name, they didn't come up with a backstory. That's just a character. That is a plot device character that will not be there soon and will be forgotten. And when they come back, they might even have a different name, and you'll have forgotten that they were ever called Butch. It's just a bad name, and I hate it. Also, because the bruiserweight Pete Dunne is just it's just good. It's just bad. It's a bad time. That's a bad time. In positive wrestling news, Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley are going to be wrestling Chuck Taylor and Wheeler Yuta of the Best Friends with Orange Cassidy and Danhausen in their corner, which Orange Cassidy is not wrestling, but is available for being around. To bring back to the previous subject, most WWE changes are bad, but dropping Langston was the right call. Yeah, Big E is better than Big E Langston. Langston wasn't a good name, and I think Big E worked pretty good for what he was coming in to do, which was to be muscle. I always expected someday him to get a new last name, but yeah, I didn't dislike them dropping Langston. I know he didn't like it, and that always sucks. He didn't enjoy that. He misses it. But yeah, so Orange Cassidy not cleared to wrestle apparently, but able to participate in being there. Look, that's good, very good. We love that. We love that for Orange. We want OC to be cool and for everything to go well. Um, the big thing is, okay, so we want the narrow. The big thing is, this means there exists the possibility that William Regal and Danhausen will interact on Wednesday on television. And that feels like it should happen, but it also shouldn't happen, and I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy that that's the reality. That's the world we live in. We live in a world where Danhausen and William Regal, is William Regal scared of Danhausen or bewildered by Danhausen, intrigued by Danhausen? We know the man loves a comedy bit and loves comedy. You know, originally I was thinking at first, like, oh, what does William Regal think of Orange Cassidy? Like, is Orange Cassidy gonna give the ankle kicks? Is he gonna give the slow kicks to William Regal? Is Danhausen going to try to curse William Regal? Can one curse William Regal? Will he no-sell? Like, I can't imagine the man no-selling, but, like, how's it going to go? Like, will he be that? I think that would be hilarious if he was legitimate, like, or acting-wise, acted like he was legitimately scared of Danhausen. I think that is great. I can't wait to find out. I think that's some good nonsense wrestle bullshit that I'm always here for. I'm always here for my wrestle bullshit because that's some good nonsense to find out. So I'm looking forward to that. Of course, I won't see it. I'll be playing live. I'll see it later, but I won't see it live because I will be playing on Wednesday. Tunic. Tunic comes out on Wednesday. I'll be playing it. I'm very excited to pick that game up and to check it out. As of right now, I have gotten some games from that publisher in the past, but as of right now, I have not been given it a copy. If I do receive a copy, I will of course let you know. I always let y'all know when I am gifted a game. It doesn't happen that often. It's only happened twice. It happened with Chicory and it happened with a airport made by aliens currently run by dogs. Takes a while for me to remember that one, but that one I also was gifted, which was very generous of them. So if I am gifted a code for Tunic, I will be sure to let you know so that you can take it with a grain of salt. I think it's always nice to take these things with a grain of salt because who knows. Okay, moving on here through my thoughts on things. This is a quick one, maybe a discussion will come out. I don't know. It's a pretty chill evening, so I don't know if we're going to get many discussions from folks, which is also okay. So I didn't get into them when they were BuzzFeed boys, but later I got into the Try Guys. They started at BuzzFeed doing BuzzFeed video and doing series where they would try things. They were the Try Guys. They were going to try stuff because they were in their 20s, and most of them were Midwest boys. One was a New York boy, and one was a Texas boy. But some of them hadn't really done a lot of shit and experienced a lot of life. So they were like trying things and making discoveries about things and being pretty okay dudes. And then they broke off on their own to make their own shit, which is the Try Guys. And they have podcasts and videos twice a week and all kinds of other stuff and other series. And, they're fine. I think they're totally okay. But I will say this. They have a running theme that they do that I hate. So a lot of it is them trying things, but sometimes they play games and sometimes it's for charity or whatever. But the game show stuff is often pretty easy content for them to do, and I appreciate that because fucking it's hard. It's hard to have two new videos, especially when a lot of them involve, lots of production and all of that. So like, sure, make a fun little thing, whatever. Make some content that isn't like, super draining, so you can just go for it. I think that's totally cool. I don't like when they get high and drunk. Now, I don't drink. I don't do drugs. That's my business. That's my thing. I don't have a problem with people consuming alcohol, people taking recreational drugs, as long as they're being cool. I don't have a problem with that. People live their lives, do their things. That's your business. You be out there. You do you. But I don't like them when they're drunk and high. Like, I don't like them. I don't like someone who is clearly drunk and also already playing themselves at 11 generally, because they're on film and all that, and they have expectations to fill from the audience. But then when you add in alcohol to that, I just don't like it. And it's one of those things where you're like, yeah, I'm not into this. I like the Try Guys. I like some of the stuff they do. I don't like this. This is just like, yeah, I think it's mostly the drunk thing. Then they've done some stuff with drugs and alcohol that I actually think was interesting and helpful. They did this is a few years ago. They did a whole like driving test series. They were like on a private track and did driving while high, driving while intoxicated, driving while texting and distracted driving, driving while very tired. It's a good series. Generally, people who love smoking weed didn't like it because it maybe said, hey, maybe don't be fucking blazed and drive. And people who smoke weed don't love to hear that. So whatever. But yeah, in general, it was like, okay, that's kind of interesting, but didn't necessarily, like, several of them drunk together. It's just not my scene. And part of it might be that I have, that my tolerance for drunkenness has decreased, particularly since I don't have to do that in order to see my friends. Like, I don't have to go to a bar to see my friends and hang out with them as they get drunk, or like a party, because none of my friends live in this city. And so if I want to see them, it's online. And most of them don't get drunk on a Zoom call, because there's that activity present. Occasionally, a few of them drink when it's just like a hangout, like a birthday thing, whatever. Like, it certainly happens, but it's not the same as, we're going to be in this bar for 3 hours. I'm shouting. I'm paying $3 for a watered-down soda. I went outside to see a couple friends, to talk to them, but that means that I'm also hanging out with smokers, which I don't enjoy. So this isn't my idea of a good time. And maybe because even like the year before all of this, I was spending less time in bars. Maybe my tolerance for nonsense drunken friends has decreased, and I won't know that for a while. It'll be a while. I did hang out one night at PAX Unplugged. I did hang out with some people. Hey, Harold, welcome. So at PAX Unplugged, I did spend a night hanging out with people who were pretty drunk. To quote one of them, I live alone, so I haven't been drinking, because then I'm drinking alone because of the pandemic. So that person got pretty hammered. We were drinking at their hotel room, so they didn't have anywhere to go. If I remember correctly, they missed their 10 a.m. panel the next day, because they were just guesting, but they basically were not in a position to attend that, because they got really sloshed at this get-together, which I understand, because, oh boy, sometimes you just want to hang out. And yeah, if you haven't been drinking for a while, and suddenly you are drinking, and you're in an atmosphere, and you're feeling a little freer than you have been, it can get bad. But yeah, so somebody pointed this out, and I can't remember who, but they were right. And okay, so I want this to be withhold. Okay, so it's got to go on this side because, wait, that goes like that. So this goes like this. Yeah, got it. Figured it out. It goes like that. These bend both directions, so you gotta have to kind of look. But this will be the front of the hand. Right. Yeah, this will be the front. So then you want the shiny side pointed out. Because PAX East happens on variety of weekends over the years, it is because basically you can't just lock in a weekend. People that have been at that convention center for decades get first say or get say in basically in order. So the companies that have been there the longest time pick and choose, and not all of those want the same weekend every year. They want to move around, which is why PAX East doesn't have the ability, even though they've been there so long and are such a big breadwinner for it, because they just do consistent numbers every year. So they happen different years, which means you constantly get like time hops and Facebook memories of PAX East. And I was thinking about it. I was thinking about my many PAX East memories. This year will be the first PAX East I've ever missed. I didn't do anything at the first PAX East, which was at a different convention center, not the one that it is now. It was the Hoyt Convention Center, which was too small. Everybody knew it was too small. It was very small. It was nice to go see friends. That year I took the Fenghua bus, which is the Chinatown bus. This is instead of like Bolt and Mega bus. This was like it wasn't a double decker. The Chinatown bus existed before. Like, didn't have a website for a number of years. You couldn't buy tickets online. You had to show up in person, and if there were enough people, the bus left, and if not, it waited until it had enough people. And I took the early Friday morning bus because I didn't want to go up on Thursday. This was when PAX East was 3 days. And most of the bus was other PAX people, which was neat. It was $15 guaranteed because, again, we didn't have Megabus and Bolt yet. So there wasn't because there was a brief period where like sometimes in the afternoon, you could take a bus to Boston from New York for $1 or a bus to DC for $1 or Philly for like $1 or $2. And then they realized that like, oh, well, now that you can do it online, more and more people are doing this. So we can charge more. And then also secretly, both those, they got bought. All of the competitors for Peter Pan and the other bus companies got bought by those bus companies, but then they don't want you to know that because they want you to think you're getting a good deal. You're not. Whatever. Don't take Megabus unless you have to take Megabus because some of their drivers don't know that their double deckers are too tall for certain underpasses and bridges. Harold says, I've had a lot of PAX picks pop up on Time Op lately. FOMO is going to be hit hard when PAX actually happens. Yes, this PAX East, there'll be a lot of FOMO for myself as well. I'll be watching some live streams, certainly, because I'm not going to it. And it's a weird one. This is going to be a weird one because there will be plenty of people I know who aren't going to it, but there's like a bunch of people I do know that will be there, especially folks in the New England and Mid-Atlantic area will be making the trip there. And some people that like maybe don't necessarily want to go, but for their work are going. So what was I saying? Oh yeah. So the very first one went to go see. I went to a couple panels. I did not go to the Giant Bomb panel because I was not. That was like right before I really got to. It was just before I got to know them, and I don't even know if they went to that PAX. It's possible they didn't go to that PAX, but I feel like in between that PAX and the next PAX was when I really got to know people. It's possible they weren't there because it was the first one. Whatever. No matter what, I didn't go to that. I went to an IGN panel because some people I knew were working for GameSpy, which IGN owned. And so I went to go see the IGN/GameSpy panel and waiting in line for that, because that's the time I was still waiting in line for panels, which feels weird to say. but I was waiting in line for that panel, and I actually overheard an Xbox fanboy talk to a PlayStation fanboy. And of course, I knew from online. It'd been a long time since I had actually heard two fanboys arguing back and forth about being like which was better and why would you own one of those. I basically had a console war happening in line for that panel, and I was like, oh shit, that's the thing. I went to a Retronauts panel, and so then I got to see my buddy Chris be like a celebrity, and that was really weird and cool. Um, and then I took the bus back on a Sunday, and the person sitting next to me on the bus was on 4chan on his laptop the entire ride back, and that was a thing that was happening. That was a real thing that was going on. I was just like, okay, oh yeah, you do you, man. You know, you post on 4chan on a bus going back to New York. Let's see. The second PAX East, that was when I did 404ing it. 404ing it, I've told the story. Basically came about, I've been doing that for years at UCB in New York. And I thought it would make a good panel. I had Upright Citizens Brigade as my like thing. That was like my hook. Was like, oh, this has been a show at UCB in New York. Like that's a cool thing. Harold says my favorite PAX Q moment, Giant Bomb 2012. I met a couple guys who I'm still friends with all these years. After all these years, that's awesome. Yeah, sometimes the line can be great. It's been a long time since I had to do that. Because now I know enough people that I just can go, and also I have a badge that lets me, generally jump the line. Not all the time, but often. Or I will text and say like, "Hey, can I come in early?" Or do you need any help? That's how I got into Giant Bomb panels. Was that I would be a roadie. The year there was a band, I was a roadie for them. I was helping out with pranks when we did the PAX East prank for Dan, and we had Dan in the money pit or the money bin. I helped with that. I helped organize that, made that PowerPoint, helped with all that things. So like I would have a reason to get in early. It was always to help out, and then eventually it was or like. One year Drew needed he had like he had forgotten or it died, something happened, but he needed an audio recorder, and I had my H4n, so I brought my H4n and he borrowed that. And then we did the Giant Bomb or GameBomb.ru prank, which was fun at the time. And came in and did that. So like I used to just get into panels because I was helping out with some shenanigans. Anyway, so 404ing it existed because I had done it at a stage show. I was looking to do something at PAX, and I was like, well, how am I going to get this approved? I asked Chris Kohler to be in it. Chris is my childhood friend. I have known him for a very long time. He said yes. Pope had I had been introduced to Pope at the first PAX East. Said hi, nice to meet you. He doesn't remember that. That's fine. He met a lot of people at that one. He does remember going to the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater where I was a manager and me introducing myself because he was like, I was like, hey, Pope, hi, I'm Pat Baer. I'm a Giant Bomb fan. Hi. And he was like, oh, cool. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, we know we have several people. We have friends in common from the Boston comedy scene because Pope was associated with the Boston comedy scene because everybody was. And so we chatted about that, and then we chatted online, and then I would chime in with something for people I would follow. So more harmonics people started following me because Pope followed me, and then Aaron followed me. And the UCB thing was cool, and people were psyched about that. So I asked Pope. I was like, Pope, do you want to do this panel? It's it can be whatever you want, yada yada yada. And then I took a shot in the dark, He followed me on Twitter because we had chatted about comedy stuff. I sent him some UCB stuff. We talked about Comedy Bang Bang when he and Jeff Gersman would do their drive time streams. So I just asked Ryan Davis to be on my panel. I was like, "Here's what it is. Here's who's doing it. Let me know." And unbeknownst to me, um, Cahill, who was running panel stuff for PAX, who rules completely. He reached out to Ryan, say like, "Hey, I don't know who this is. He's got people that I kind of know. I know you. Are you actually on this panel?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, Pat does comedy in New York. He's great." Harold says, confession, I went to the first 404 panel because Pope was talking up on Harmonix Twitch stream. Yeah, Pope promoted the panel on the Harmonix Twitch stream, which was huge. Chris retweeted. But Ryan Day, the thing you gotta understand is that they started doing more stuff eventually, but generally the Giant Bomb guys would just do the Giant Bombcast panel, and then maybe they would show up and do a bit at the Harmonix panel, maybe. Or like, Lang hadn't been doing anything weird with panels. That was it. There was one year where Brad did a panel that wasn't the Giant Bomb panel, and like the entire audience was Giant Bomb people who didn't get into the Giant Bomb panel. They camped that one out and went to that. I don't remember what it was for. It was like a technical panel that Brad apologized for being on because he's Brad. But like Ryan being on a panel that wasn't Giant Bomb thing, that was my audience. It was the thing that I had learned doing comedy for so many years, which is people will come to a thing if they like the guest, even if they don't know who you are. If they like the subject or if they like the guest, they'll come. So Chris has a big following on the internet. Pope had a dedicated following, especially being a local boy, being a Boston boy. He had people that knew him through PAX stuff that might come to that. Also, he also could promote it the entire weekend because he was at the Harmonix booth. And if people said, "What are you doing anything this weekend?" he could say, "Oh, I'm going to this." Harold says, "I don't know this Pat guy, but I like Pope. I like Ryan Davis and Chris Kohler. It's cool. This could be good." Yeah. I mean, like I said, the UCB thing helped. Also, that year, I wore my UCB shirt. I wore several UCB shirts the whole weekend so that people associated me with the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater, which I was an employee and performer at and a representative of. And in one instance, one year, they helped pay for me to go and do my panel at PAX West one year. It was still PAX Prime, probably. All right, we finished the upper part of this kit. We're going to move on. I've just been talking. I haven't been saying anything about this kit. But we're moving on to the right leg because it's a 2010 kit. So we don't even do feet next. We would do the feet. This thing doesn't have feet, so we're doing the right leg. You do chest, head, arms, shoulders, or shoulders, arms, feet, right leg, left leg, waist. In this case, we're doing, we skip the feet because it doesn't have them. And so we're just going to do that. So here's the other thing I don't talk about too much when it comes to early PAX and PAX East and Pat. And that is, Harold will know this, and a few other people will, that for a tradition there, Harmonix would do a thing the night before PAX. Come to PAX the day before, the night before, go to the Brattle Theater. They're going to do Rock Band Night. It was a tradition. It was great. They already did Rock Band Night the fifth Wednesday. When there were 5 Wednesdays, the fifth Wednesday of the month, they would do it in Boston. They would do Rock Band Night. But, they would do it at the Brattle Theater because it's a bigger space than the Comedy Theater they would do it in. And they had Giant Bomb folks there as judges, and they would have, like, friends of friends would come in, and it was a silly time and, cheap to go to. You got to see people early. You might see people that you didn't see all weekend, and encourage people to make it a long weekend. It was really fun. Somebody I assume Aaron. I don't know. Somebody in the community team, but I assume it was Aaron, or maybe it cost money, so that's why I assume it was Aaron because it was expensive but very cool. Came up with the idea that Harmonix employees had track jackets that said Harmonix on them, and they looked fucking dope. They made a version of that they gave away for free to people that came to Rock Band Night one year. It was a really nice track jacket. It said like rock bands and like road crew on it on the back. It was not the official. It wasn't as good a quality, and it wasn't exactly what they had. It wasn't the official Harmonix track jackets that they wore, because when you were working, especially in Boston, you were going to wear layers. Hey, Lord Crashington. So the Harmonix people wore them all packs. You would just see them there because they could spot each other. It made sense to wear them at the booth, the whole thing, right? You could see who worked at the booth. If you wore the Rock Band track jacket and you stood next to people wearing the Harmonix track jacket, people just assumed you were a Harmonix employee. So even though I had a speaker badge, I could hang out at the exhibitor booths after hours. I got in some back doors saying, hey, I forgot my exhibitor badge. I'm working at Harmonix. And I could get in sometimes early. Maybe I want to go to a panel and I am walking with the Harmonix people and I just keep walking and walk into that panel. I knew exactly what I was doing. I feigned ignorance once when someone was like, are you wearing that so it looks like you work with whoever I was with at the time? It might have been Nick. I don't know. Do you wearing that so it looks like you work there? And I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I just love this track jacket. What if you were trying to spread bullshit about Guns N' Roses coming to Rock Band? Asked Lord Crashington. No fakes. No fake outs. I wanted to continue my positive relationship with those fine folks. Because they, a couple times, let me store my gear at their booth. Because the Dance Central stage was a stage. It was a raised platform stage. So they had a lot of room underneath it for people to put their personal items. And they let me store my gear several years in a row. It was very kind of them. So that I didn't have to spend money on coat check. And I could get stuff out of it. I didn't have to, it's like the days I had to bring my laptop, the safest place was to put it under there, underneath a jacket behind a bunch of other people's stuff that would get taken first. So I did that on purpose quite a bit. I'm honestly amazed Dan revealed that fact and lived. I mean, like, look, he waited until a bunch of them didn't work at Harmonix anymore, which did soften the blow eventually. But yes, nonsense. Complete and utter nonsense. Anyway, that's my big PAX confession. Let's see. Anything else from PAX East? Lots of bits, lots of like nonsense. The very first PAX Wrestling. It wasn't called League of Heels at the time. When we started, it was PAX Wrestling. I got invited because I was doing stuff at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater, and I did a comedy wrestling show. Yes, he waited until John, Aaron, etc. were not paid to care about that. Yes, Lord Crashington. Also, Harmonix was a family, but like any family that's also a business, once you leave it, you kind of stop thinking of it like a family. So you don't take some stuff as personal anymore that you were taking very personal at the time, because if you take things personally, you're then you're taking that stuff very personally because that's where you're at emotionally. Lord Crashington wants me to hit that ska button. I will. Here's ska. John says, I just never think of a job or workplace as family, and that's the right way to go. The thing is, like, even if you don't think of the whole place as your family, you if you are with people, like, especially the crew, like the community team that's going to these conventions and playing like and being up for 40 hours and playing Rock Band on QVC. Like you start to think of these people that you spend more time with than you do your outside friends, and in many instances your family, as your road family. The story of Alex told about QVC Village is such a wild one. Yes, it's complete nonsense, and it's a fantastic story that he, I work with literal family. There you go, Harold, and that has its own positives and negatives. It's like shared work trauma. Yes, Lord Grafton, it is shared work trauma, indeed. It very much can be that. All right, so we don't want to attach these two parts yet because we still have to attach this part here. So we got to do that first. I almost did this wrong. Anyway, other PAX E stuff. Improvised Postmortem. I think I've talked about how that came out because they kept putting 404ing it at night as a night panel. And I was like, I'm not interested in doing 404ing it as a late night panel, like an alternative to concerts. I didn't want it to be that because it was a comedy thing. But what I really wanted 404ing it to be was an escape from the show floor. I wanted you to take a break, have some fun, maybe find a new favorite thing on the internet for you to check out after or even during, because I would see people on their phones like writing notes or going to websites. I wanted that to be that. I wanted an excuse for my friends to get off the show floor themselves, take a break, and come and do a panel. And they were putting them in the evenings because they wanted more evening entertainment because I produce comedy shows. So it makes sense to put me in the evening. So I came up with Improvised Postmortem. It was an idea that I had had for quite some time. Also, maybe a podcast I was listening to at the time pitched the idea to themselves, laughed about it. They pitched the idea of a TED Talk where you weren't in control of the slides, which other people have done, but I definitely took that idea. The first time I had heard of it was on a podcast. I can't remember what podcast, but it was on a podcast. They had mentioned it. I thought that was a really funny idea, and I was like, oh, what if it was a postmortem? Oh, I could do that at PAX. That's an entertainment thing, and then I can book comedians to come do it. And I did that, and it worked out pretty good. Oh yeah, so League of Heels, PAX Wrestling as it was there, because I had been doing comedy wrestling stuff in New York. They asked me to be in it, also because they knew I'd be an entertainer and that I would take the game seriously, which was a lie because I am bad at video games, particularly wrestling. I've never been good at wrestling video games, so I was very bad at that. But I let them believe the lie they told themselves that I would practice and be good at it. I didn't practice it. I'm never going to be good at those games. It's okay. And then I pitched to help with a few things, and the very first show took it as seriously as it deserved. Indeed, the very first show that we did, I was hanging out. I knew a few people. I did not know everybody there. I knew some of the Giant Bomb folks. I knew some other Harmonix folks. I didn't know a lot of people. I introduced myself to Arthur Geese, who we raid on occasion. Arthur did the first PAX wrestling, which was very kind of him. Introduced myself to him and a few other people. And then I was just kind of standing, and Pope and I were talking, and he had to go do something else. And Pope just goes, "Hey, do you know Samantha? Do you know now Felix? No, you should be friends with them. Cool, all three of you should be friends. You're all very cool people that I know." And then he walked away from us, and we all introduced ourselves and sat down together. I found out that, all three of us knew the Giant Bomb folks to various degrees and were fans. We had a couple other people in common. Felix had been around the Loading Ready Run crew, which I knew at the time and then forgot about for years because I wasn't watching a lot of LLR stuff. And then later went back and then saw Felix there doing stuff. And I was just like, what? In the background and around on occasion, which was very fun for me. But yeah, I got to meet them, and there are people I love to death. and I was so psyched about that. I thank Pope all the time for that, for making that introduction, because I think they're both fantastic people. Samantha has crashed on a couch in my living room. Like, Fee has... Felix and I have, like, had really deep, very personal conversations for, like, 10 minutes several times at PAX that have ended with, okay, let's never talk about this again. And then we have walked away. That has happened twice, and I love that. I love that about Fee. That Fee and I have had that. I was probably one of the handful of people who practiced the game prior to PAX League of Heal and still got eliminated the quickest in the 19 Rumble. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a combination of it doesn't matter, and some people are really good. Like, hey, if you played the year that Mega ran and Dan were colluding with one another, where Dan said, hey, don't eliminate me, so that Dan could stick around the longest, Megaran could have eliminated Dan at any time because he's better at the game than Dan is. But Megaran listened to Dan, and they teamed up. Nobody did good that year. Which version of Dan was that? I believe that is Canadian Dan Reichert. That is the fake Dan Reichert. I believe that was the Dan that teamed up with... It might not be. I may have gotten confused. It's too many Dan Reicherts, but I believe that was Canadian Dan Reichert. I got stuck with the shitty controller. Nobody with that controller did well. Yes, there was also a shitty controller. Sometimes there'd be a shitty controller. But yeah, he and Mega Ran teamed up, and then they were unstoppable. There was no way anyone was winning that year because they were just too goddamn good. All right. Oh, so this leg extends, I guess. So I gotta pop that in right. But make sure I'm doing this right. This will be the leg where I figure out how all this works, and then I'll have a leg. Then the other leg will be nice and easy to build. But this leg, I'm like, am I doing this right? Because this has got to go. This is pointing. It goes here. Oh, okay. It doesn't slide. Another thing slides. This doesn't slide. A different thing slides up and down. I got that. Okay. We'll figure that out. We're going to take a pause for the cause. I'm going to talk about ways you can support the channel. Then we'll get back into talking about some anime and some manga and maybe some video games and maybe even more pack stuff because I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm going to retweet my tweet. See if we can get a few more friends to maybe join us tonight. This seems to be a very chill, cool evening, but maybe more people will want to come. Because that would be nice, but I don't know. If you are currently a subscriber, let's throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the Scythe emote in the chat. Let the people know. If you got the Scythe, you're a tier 2. If you have the Lego and the Bear Cave emote, you can throw the emotes in like John did. Subscribing is the easiest way to support what I do. Cash money or your Prime Gaming token. You can do bits or coins. You can join the bit and coin leaderboard with Harold and I believe Ironhide the Fourth in there. You can also gift a sub. Aristofan is the only person to gift a sub this month. We are trying to get to 50 subscribers. We're at 45. That's cool. If we don't do it tonight, that's fine. But if you want to gift a sub, join that. You can do it anonymously or you can do that. That is an easy way to support what I do here. Probably the easiest way is to become a subscriber. You don't see ads, you get the cool emotes, and, it's nice to see. A thing that is cool about being a streamer is you have emotes, and then people put your emotes in there, and in my case, they put versions of my face in the chat, and I got used to that. I'm not really narcissistic, but I'm a little narcissistic, enough that 2 of the 3 of my emotes, one emote is my name, and the other 2 emotes are versions of my face. That's where I'm at. If you wonder if I'm a little narcissistic, I am. But yeah, probably going through Twitch is the easiest thing. And again, you can get the sub. You can do it anonymously. You're joining the Give Sub leaderboard. And next to Aristofan's name, it says 1, which is neat. It doesn't say the lifetime, but it does say that they've gifted 1 sub, which is cool. I have a Patreon, patreon.com/PatBear. There's a $1, $3, $5, $10 tier. I keep promising that I'm going to redo my Patreon introduction video. I need to do that. I need to not revamp my Patreon, like change anything. I just want to like freshen it up. Like I went in there. I've been living here probably a year before I took out the part where I live in New York on that Patreon because I was like, shit, it probably says I live in New York there. I got to update that. I did update that. Anyway, we'll get into more stuff. But Patreon, that's an alternative. Or in addition to, you want to do $5 a month here and $1 or $3 over there? You could do that. There are rewards and incentives and all that. I got a YouTube channel, which I recommend. Hey, subscribe to that because it's free and would help me out a lot. Hit the bell so you know when I post videos. That would be great. And also, you could become a member there. And my Wednesday videos, you get those on Tuesday. So usually Tuesday afternoon or Tuesday morning, like around like 10:15, you'll get the video that normally you would see on a Wednesday. You can get a little early. That's a benefit I can give there for $2 a month over on my YouTube. And then also, if you just want to do a one-time donation, if monthly is not something you're interested in doing, but you want to join on a monthly or a one-time basis and donate, these are the ways to do that, either through PayPal or through Coffee. Everything I make through Coffee, PayPal, with direct donations, through YouTube, through Patreon, through Twitch, all of that money goes into a fund. I do very good Excel spreadsheets of that money, take that money, use it to buy model kits. The Harute, the kit I'm working on tonight, came from that money there because I saw it as something that I could get as a pre-order through the Bandai Premium, and I was like, that thing looks cool. Those legs are weird. It transforms and looks like a cool jet. I'm going to get that. And I did because the money was there. So thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Speaking of kits, I don't know what I'm building when this is done. I don't know if we'll finish it on Monday. We might finish it actually on like Thursday next week. I think we'll definitely finish by then. I don't know what I'm building next. That I haven't decided. But you could have a say in what I build next because you could buy something from my Amazon wish list. Folks, if you're new here, I'm going through my ad reads. It's all promotional stuff. Then we'll get back to building. It's not a couple minutes of me talking about myself. My Amazon wish list. If you buy something from there, it will come in the mail to me. I'll build it early. Before I build anything else, it'll jump the queue because I got high grades. I got a Lego set. I got a ship from One Piece to build. But you can skip the line there. So I have some pre-orders. I have some stuff that's come out. Some entry grade kits. Some a 30-minute mission on the list. Some Lego sets. Inexpensive model kits. Very expensive model kits. Kits that are way too high on price. Kits that just seem like they would be cool to build on stream that you could purchase there, and I'll build it. And at the very bottom, I have some gear, including, I did this. I changed it. Instead of, it seems very difficult to wish list item a download code. That seems very difficult to do. So I wish listed a physical GameStop gift card. So you could buy a $50 gift card to GameStop, and when I get it, I will chip in the $10 on my own to buy a Steam version of WWE 2K22. I will not spend $60 of my own goddamn money to buy that game, but if you wanted to buy a $50 gift card to GameStop, I can, using that gift card online, buy a Steam copy download from GameStop's website. It's convoluted, but I can do that. Or I guess you could PayPal me or coffee me $50 or $60 or whatever, and I could do that too. But anyway, this seems to be the best way for me to buy a copy of WWE 2K22. So that is a thing you could do. I don't expect anyone to do that, but I'm keeping that up for now as my promise that if someone really wants me to play it, I will. And I dedicate 2 streams to that, at least 2 streams. Alternative, USA Gundam Store, you buy a gift card, you send me a DM on Twitter with the gift card code. I'll buy something from there. If you're like, Pat, I want to support you, but not using Amazon, I got you. I understand. I have a Discord. You can join my Discord for free. It's a nice place with cool folks. I post build photos. People post stuff they're working on. Sometimes people are like, hey, did you see this thing about the Japanese bookstores that are going to have gunplay in them in the U.S.? That's neat. And you can just be like, what? Oh, cool. I didn't know that. I've got one in my town because I live in a major metropolis. So I'm going to go to that. That's a thing you could do. Couple video links for you to check out. Pat Bear's Anime Club. There'll be a new one on Monday if you missed the last one where I talk about 4 shows that you should watch this season. Guess what? My Monday video is another 4. It's 4 shows, but it's not from this season. They're just... The Monday video is also about 4 shows. The 4 seems to be the sweet spot for me, anyway. Do You Remembaer? I read the Wikipedia article for OpenOffice.org because they can't go by OpenOffice because they did not own the international trademark to OpenOffice. Did you know that OpenOffice is an open source software, or was an open source software, because Sun Microsystems didn't want, they were getting a bunch of new computers, and they realized that it would be cheaper in the long run to buy the company that created OpenOffice than to pay for almost 600 licenses of Microsoft Office. So they did that. And then they were like, let's make this open source and try to make it something that eventually beats Microsoft Office. And they were doing pretty good. They had like 14% market share at one point. But then Google Docs came out, and then goodbye. Also, they stopped caring about it. Oracle bought Sun. It was a whole thing. Everybody who was good, who worked on it, left, and yada, yada, yada. Anyway, I talk about all that. I remembered a bunch of it. You can check that out. Very, very few people are looking at some of my Do You Remembaers, and it's a shame because they're all pretty educational, if not all really funny. Some of them are just kind of funny. Sort of funny, I guess. There was a whole split with NeoOffice, yes. And then the last group of people that were doing it went to LibreOffice. Yeah, anyway, it eventually died because also Oracle laid off all the people from Sun that were working on it. So they kind of killed it themselves, but also Google didn't help. But for a while there, OpenOffice was this like, oh, you don't have money to, you don't have a crack of Microsoft Office, you just get OpenOffice. You can save it as whatever. They got PowerPoint, they got an Excel sheets, they got some sort of thing to help you do math, like big calculations, whatever. Anyway, that's that whole thing. We're going to talk about some manga and some anime, and then I'm also going to continue working on this model kit. So while I drink a little water, here is a dramatic transition while I drink some water. It's a good transition. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. All right. Let's talk about story of an unemployed champion and a princess who together find their happiness. This is new. I think there's only like 6 chapters so far. We haven't gotten all the pieces of this manga, but I felt like I could talk about it. Also, I'm starting to run out of manga to talk about because I have a list of stuff that I'm like, okay, how many chapters have come out? 5. Okay, I can't really talk about this. 7 to me is a sweet spot because 7 is we have introduced the premise and we have started to introduce most of the main characters. There are still more main characters to be introduced, but we're getting at least some of them, and we're maybe going to get even we're starting to actually explore the premise instead of just setting up the premise. So there's usually more, but I felt like this premise is pretty basic, and I can talk to you about story of an unemployed champion and a princess who together find their happiness. Which is, this is not an isekai. It is not a reborn. It is a fantasy story, but it does not have any of that. But it does have a clearly terrible system that, of course, someone is eventually going to overcome. Because people are born with professions. And within those professions, you can obtain skills. But you shouldn't be able to obtain skills outside of your profession. So you get blacksmithing profession. You're a blacksmith. And within that, you might specialize or you might get some bonus abilities. This is probably not E5. Hey, welcome, Spen. Happy to have you here. That is E5. Okay, so why does this look like it? This doesn't look right. E5. Oh, I had it upside down. That could explain why it didn't look right. Because I wasn't. No. Still doesn't look right. E5. E5. E10. Okay. So this is. Maybe this is. Okay. Okay. All right. Oh, all right. This looks right. Okay. Never mind. I figured it out. Folks, as I said, I'll figure out this leg, and then the next leg will be a lot easier for me to do. But this one has been giving me some annoyances, so I'm starting to figure it out. Anyway, here we go. So you have skills, right? What happens when you have no talent? When you have no job? When you have like no profession? Well, you don't do anything, and everyone decides that you're worthless because your worth is tied to the profession you're doing. Do you think that maybe there is a cultural issue in Japan where so many isekai are about black company workers who then have a fulfilling, easy life or want a slow life when they are reincarnated, and that there have been multiple anime about people who have a job that is considered that either they have no job or that they are considered to have like a worthless job and then are cast out because of it and treated poorly? Do you think maybe there's some sort of like problem there that keeps showing up in media? I don't know. That's for someone probably smarter than me, but I'm starting to see a pattern. And so anyway, what happens when you have what does it mean? When you're unemployed? Well, for our main character, he was just like, well, that means I just have to work harder than everybody. I just have to keep working hard. I'll keep learning skills. He ends up at a coliseum, and he becomes a champion because he's very good with the sword. Now, is he supposed to be good with the sword? No, he's not supposed to be good with the sword because he's not a he's not a sword wielder. He's not a swords person, not a swordsman. So he definitely 100% shouldn't be good with a sword. But he is. And that makes some people fucking mad because he shouldn't beat them. Also, he's the first person that a lot of people know that have skills that actually has skills, who's unemployed. It's so much to the point that some people start to wonder, maybe unemployed is a job. Maybe that is a profession, which is a weird thing that I don't know if they're going to actually get into it. But anyway, he can read people's sword. He has moves that swordsmen don't have. He can read what they're about to do. If through observation and through battling them, he can understand. Basically, he can understand their style of fighting so much so that he can anticipate where it ends up. So he knows what their ultimate move is before they do it and can counter it or do it before they do. And I'm starting to wonder. I wonder if he fights someone with untapped potential, if he can eventually do the move they haven't even thought of yet. I don't know. I don't know if that is something that's coming or not. But anyway, basically, he gets kicked out. Being unemployed, can't pick up work because people want to. Even if he's better at being a swordsman than someone with the profession of swordsman, they'd rather hire somebody like that. There's just a lot of prejudice there. It's a whole bullshit system. Anyway, he ends up coming into contact with the princess, and she's like, I've self-taught the sword. All I want for you to do is train and be available when I want to spar because I need people to spar with. And he's like, okay. And then he meets a maid who's like a weird character, and she exhibits skills that maids shouldn't have. And we just had it heavily implied that this maid, who is like the comic relief, is definitely a trained assassin who gave up being assassin to become the princess's maid, because all her skills are definitely assassin skills. And and that's interesting that someone like that got hired to be a maid. She didn't get hired to be like a secret assassin who's posing a maid. She is the maid, and it's interesting. So this is going to be a lot of like. Eventually, I'm probably going to get fucking sick of just be like, yeah. Everybody doesn't think this guy is going to be any good. Oh, and then they're very surprised when it turns out he is very good. Yeah. I get it. I think this might get old fast, but right now I'm enjoying it. And also, the title implies their happiness. So is there going to be some romance, or is it just their friendship together is enough to make them happy? I don't know yet, but that I am fairly intrigued by that. Finding out what that means and how this is going to work out. I am intrigued. I think it's so far it has been pretty interesting. I'm going to keep reading it. If there's like a fundamental switch, because sometimes that happens where there's just like, oh, this took a turn and I'm not into it right now. I'll let you know, but I don't know. Lastbrick says there's also the trope I'm starting to come across more personally of mob characters. Dudes who get into high school and are like, well, I'm completely average and my lot in life to wait this girl is changing my entire life. Like Comey can't communicate. Yes. It is the continuation. Hey, movies stopped doing this as much. Anime picked up the magical girl trope. That the very boring male character meets a wacky girl with a lot going on, and then that changes him for the better. That kind of went away from romantic comedies and such, is alive and well in anime, and probably even predates it, arguably. That's still there. We're still doing that in anime. So yeah, that's certainly there, and some of that is also in fantasy. A lot of fantasy, the overpowered main character trope is generally people who were nice, that were trying their best, and weren't acknowledged, suddenly get acknowledged when they have magical abilities and they're overpowered in their other world. Now, some of those people are doing good no matter what, and some of those people are like, oh wow. Like there's also a trope in the fantasy genre that has nothing to do with isekai. The court blacksmith, it was one I recently talked about. The idea that nobody knows how awesome you are, or they knew how awesome you were and they took advantage of you, or they've forgotten because they're so used to you that they have forgotten that you are incredible, and so they treat you poorly, and then eventually they come to realize how awesome you are because somebody else sees your potential. There's another manga that I will be talking about soon. I'm waiting for another chapter of it because I am trying to get to 7 on that one because it's been very slow. The Frontier Alchemist, I can't go back to that job after you made my budget 0. Frontier Alchemist, I'll be talking about in the future. Basically, same thing. They treated him poorly. They didn't recognize how good he was. He's he's clearly incredible. Now he's going to go be awesome. There's a few, a lot. Basically, anybody who's banished from the hero's party is usually unbelievable, and people haven't come to recognize that. There's another one that I'll talk about at some point when there's enough chapters. That's basically like God told this dude, "Hey, your childhood friends are going to go off. We need you to stick with them." And he was buffing all of them, but didn't tell any of them. So now they kicked him out. Stay with them until the time is right. The time is right because they eventually kicked him out, and now he's being incredible and doing all kinds of stuff and has whatever. It's that somebody else will see how great you are. But usually, if you're banished or kicked out of Hero's Party, it's people didn't recognize how good you were. Or in the case of one, the one about the guy who is now loved by fairies, it turns out that the hero was embezzling funds and spreading rumors about him, and then he got him kicked out so that the hero could so no one could stop him from hanging out with all the ladies he's currently hanging out with. But now our dude is gonna be incredible, and it's not a problem. It's not gonna be a problem. Everyone's gonna figure it out. But yeah, there's embezzlement. He was sending money back to the church, and it wasn't getting to the church. So when he shows up, they're like, we heard what you did, but it turns out the person that said that was the guy doing the embezzling. So that's going to, maybe it'll turn around and people will be like, oh yeah, no, don't worry about it. We know you're great. I just read a manga that was a one-shot about a guy who is, he was in the hero's party, but there was another hero's party, and that hero's party defeated the Demon Lord. So his party got disbanded. Now he has to go back home. And turns out he was never great. He was always good, but he was never great at being a hero. But people respected him because he tried hard. And it's him and the wizard who is sticking with him and is saying outwardly that she's there because she can't wait to see how embarrassing it is. It was always embarrassing when he got beat up and such, but it turns out she does respect him and like him. That was a one shot. I don't know if that'll go to series, and I was like, oh, that could be fun. That could get old, but that could be fun. There could be something fun about that. The idea of like, this dude was the number 2 hero, but there was a big gap between the two of them. I like that. We'll talk about some anime here, because I do have some anime to chat to you about. Slow Loop continues to be pretty solid. It's not my favorite show. I wish it was better than it is. It's the only, like, girls doing things show this season. We're at a real need for that. We got to get some more girls doing things other than, like, in other words, sketch, which is that, but, like, such a strange version of that. Because the thing they're doing is trying to not to escape from the fact that they are trapped, and they are doing sketches from a real sketch group in order to not lose their minds. So that's a big difference of a vibe between that and Slow Loop, which is mostly about girls trying to become stepsisters and suddenly and be a big part of each other's lives. Which is very different. It's a very different vibe, those two things. All right, we completed this leg, so let's panel line this leg. I'm going to take the booster part off so I can do it there, but we'll panel line this. I'm glad we got a leg done because we got the both arms done and one leg done. So we might finish this on Monday. So I guess I'll put a poll out in case, because we got another leg to do. And we got to do the waist and the connector and then the shield or the backpack, which is also the front of the jet. So, yeah, maybe we won't, but I'll do a poll tomorrow for my $10 patrons to see what they want me to build next. But I don't know. We might not finish this. But so Slow Loop, like I said, it's good. It's not great. It's not doing anything revolutionary. I want it to be more about the fishing and the friendship and maybe a little less about the trying to make the family, the unit work, but whatever. I don't dislike it. I just don't love it. Strongest stage with the weakest crest. We had a run-in with the dude who is like the second strongest person we've seen in this world. The swordsman who said that he thought magic was worthless, but was doing magic subconsciously the whole time. He showed up. They're fighting a bunch of smaller demons. Marius, our main character, who's never had a fucking problem and dealt with everything easily, was running into some issues with the numbers game. Let's see. Anything else in this one that was fun? Iris had some fun lines because she's a fun character. She definitely does not enjoy being the bait anymore, but easily got talked into doing it because it was like, well, that's because I know you can handle it. She's like, oh, because she's, a little simple. She's a simple girl who's also a dragon. But yeah, nothing spectacular with this one. I think we're going to get a big bad in the next one, if I remember correctly from the manga. Also, this was several chapters. This fight was several chapters in the manga, and they condensed it down to one episode, which is pretty great. So I imagine the next one... Well, I imagine him defeating this big bad will be the end of the series, because I believe that was episode 10. I'm going to check that out. I believe that was episode 10. So if that was episode 10, then I imagine it'll take 2 episodes to defeat this big bad. And we won't get to the next part of the manga, which I enjoyed probably more than the rest of it, because there was some good bits in there. So yeah, I assume we won't get to that. Let me just check real quick to see. Yeah, episode 11 of 12 is in another day, so I assume the next two chapters are going to be wrapping up the Demons saga, and then we'll move on to the new Demon Lord saga, and then the best saga that we've had, which we won't. I don't think the show's going to get a second season. If it does, then we'll get to it. But I don't think the show will have a second season. But the next season, good parts would be Matthias and crew dealing with two brothers who are using some magic they got from space to revive dead warriors, and it's a pretty good story. Anyhoozle, how a realist hero rebuilt the kingdom, part 2. So for the most part, this was a better episode than last week because it was there was a lot of talking about stuff, but we got introduced to a whole new race of people. There's a three-eyed race, and their third eye allows them to see microorganisms. So they are a race they're the long-living race is what they're called, because they live till 80 or so instead of 50 or 60 at best, because they can see microorganisms and understand that they are the cause of disease. Because in the world of magic, you can heal broken bones and you can heal like wounds with magic, but magic doesn't work on diseases, so diseases still take people out. So they're basically, our king was just like, hey, I believe you. I want to put you in charge of helping us. Like, we're going to try to eradicate spreadable disease. And then the princess of the kingdom is like, is that why you ask us to gargle and wash our hands? Because there's little things we can't see that can hurt us. And he's like, yup, that's why we're doing that. And it's just, the practical side of that is stuff I appreciate. The education centers are opening up, and they're teaching kids to read and write with the free meal program, that if you go to school, you get lunch, which is a free lunch, which is helping out families, especially poorer families, being able to make sure their kids get food. But the evening classes aren't doing great. The adult education classes aren't doing great because people are like, I made it this long without knowing how to do math. Like, what do I need math for? So he's like, all right, got to figure out an incentive. So they keep going. The third eye character that we meet from that race is a tsundere, and I hope she doesn't stick around too long, but that's fine, because there hasn't really been a big tsundere character in the show, so, fine. Again, as you know, not my favorite trope by any means, but it's not egregious, so I'll let it slide. But yeah, we're starting to get in the refugee issues and trying to make that better. And then apparently, some slave traders were trying to kidnap kids from the refugee camp because they assumed that the king would not care or would not pay attention to the refugee camps, which he is paying attention to. And yeah, that's about it. Excited for more of that, because I think that is a fine enough series. I haven't loved the second season as much as I loved the first season, or part 2 of the first season, because they said it part 1 and 2. But it's still good. Still a good show. Still don't regret putting it in my top 10. Continue to like that show. Let's see. That's all the anime and manga that I've got to talk about. Video game wise, if you're playing any games, you want to chat about some games you've been playing, you put that in the chat there. Put in the comments. I almost said, but yeah, chat about games if you want to talk about some games you've been playing. Let's see. Fallout 4 with lots of mods runs really good on this computer. I'm back on my bullshit. My bullshit being Fallout 4. There were some decent new mods that I've been checking out. There's like a cemetery mod where you can go and find items and bring them to them and clean up and get rid of hell beasts that live there, and then you get the caretaker's place. You can then make into a workshop settlement, and I was like, that's kind of fun. I like that, so I did that. That mod's pretty good. But yeah, I played D&D today. That's not a video game, but that is stuff I've been playing and enjoying. I shot 2 videos, Pat Bear's Anime Club and Improvised Postmortem. Not Improvised Postmortem, what am I saying? Pat Bear's Anime Club and Do You Remembaer. I shot 2 videos, so that was good. And it's over here. Okay. And then played. Our D&D session was short. This was my regular crew is back, but we couldn't go as long as we normally do. So we were back and we were doing it, but it was unfortunately short-lived. It was a short session, but it was fun and it was good to be back again playing D&D with the people I like playing D&D with. Even if, as I said, it was a short session because 2 people had to go, basically didn't have a lot of time. These are the folks that are the most busy, and I am starting to think that one of them is going to quit, which sucks. Not a game before the stream. I was watching an anime, Fast and the Furious 9. Yeah, Fast 9 is pretty anime. You're not wrong. I would describe that as a fair assessment. That's a pretty anime-ass show or movie. Lord Christian says the new weekly dev blog, I haven't read that yet, for Power Wash Simulator mentions that they're working on a free aim washing option with the fixed camera perspective, so you can stand in place and just sweep the washer around to clean smoothly. Ooh, I like that. That'll be interesting to see in experiments how that works. So the idea would be that you could, instead of like having to constantly adjust your body as you're moving the mouse, you can lock it and then you just move the camera, which moves it like a different version of the first person mode. That's interesting. I don't dislike that, especially if you have if you're the mansion where you're like having to shoot through the bars. That would be kind of fun to just like fix the camera. I could see that working out pretty good. I've played through so many levels that it's like, whatever. I just want more levels more than I want more that. But for people that are going to buy the game when it comes out, that haven't bought the game already, that would be pretty fun. You don't have the weird way the camera moves as you're trying to clean around you at times. Yes, because sometimes the camera does move weird. Ghostval says, real life stuff that need to get done that should help in the long run. Hell yeah, Ghostval. That's a good attitude, right? Sometimes we do stuff that we're like, hey, future me is going to be pretty psyched I took care of this bullshit that current me is not happy that I have to do. Yeah, I like that. Sometimes you just gotta get it done, and it sucks, but you're like, you know what? In the long run, this will be great. And maybe that doesn't even pay off. Maybe in the long run, you're like, oh, I wish I had wasted my time doing that. But I think it's worth the gamble. Because if it does benefit you, fuck yeah, it benefits you. I watched Red on Disney Plus, and that gets very anime at times. Very nice movie. I agree, Lord Crashington. I used a friend's Disney Plus login and watched Red, Turning Red, and it's really good. It's very good. It's I tweeted about this. It's got New Jack Swing vibes. I'm gonna look up the name of the composer of the soundtrack. Because I forget this person's name. They are named. Where'd I go? Where? I got it here. Ludwig Göransson. Ludwig Göransson, Swedish gentleman, has worked in television and movies. Was the musical composer for Community, where he and Donald Glover got together to work on the albums that people really like from Childish Gambino and also the single This Is America. And he's doing all the music here, which is why it's got that New Jack Swing to it. It's fucking great. It's got like Sonic CD vibes, a lot of people have been saying, because that's kind of like saying that Jazz has got Persona 4 vibes, because Sonic CD has New Jack Swing vibes. It's great and weird, and it's like a lot of fun. But yeah, he also did Camp and some other Childish Gambino stuff. And I like other earlier Gambino stuff because it features my friends. Like my buddy Donald raps on a very early track, and my friend Amber does some stuff. There's an MC Chris and Childish Gambino song out there. This is early stuff. This was before Community. But yeah, obviously his production took a huge leap forward when he started working with a guy who is very good at composing and producing music. So yeah, John says I'm messing around with Remnant from the Ashes and Shimigami Tensei 5. Hell yeah. Hope that's going real well for you. Playing the games. Hearthstone, just playing my normal decks. I got a bunch of gold waiting to buy new packs when the new expansion comes out. We're going to start getting more about that. New stuff about that is coming down the pipe. So we'll find out what that is. Also, we'll find out what Blizzard's new mobile game is going to be, because that's coming. There's a new mobile game for Blizzard at some point. Don't know what that's going to be. But yeah, I am. I assume it will be an auto battler. I just assume it will be an auto battler. It would just be battle, like they're just. Yeah, that's my assumption. I don't know, but who knows? It'll be a mobile thing with Overwatch characters to promote Overwatch 2. I don't know, but I am excited for new Hearthstone expansion, because I do like playing Hearthstone. I won't stream it. I think I'm done streaming Hearthstone, but I do like it. Hey, someone renewed their subscription. Thank you very much for renewing it. I'm going to update this. We're at 46. If you want to hit that notification, sometimes it doesn't come up, so you have to wait or like refresh Twitch, or sometimes people don't want it. They don't want to make a fuss about it, and that's cool too. But thank you very much, whoever renewed their subscription. I appreciate it. But yeah, right now we're at 46 out of 50 subscribers, which is great. This is very kind of you. Working on this. My Halo crew is all of them. Everyone else is playing Elden Ring. Literally, we had two people from our big crew. We lost them when the new Destiny content came out. And then a few people were playing Destiny and still playing Halo on occasion. I haven't played it in like a week or so, because I just haven't had the crew together. But everyone is now like, somebody posted the other day going like, hey, do we like want to try to play this weekend? We're going to try to play tomorrow. And everyone's just like, I'm just really liking Elden Ring, or I'm just really loving how much I hate Elden Ring, is what one of my friends said. So I got a couple maybes and then several like, I don't want to be the person that says no, but I'm going to say no, which, sucks, because I still was finding fun with Halo. And I can play with randoms. It's just they're randoms. And I like playing with my friends, so that when someone gets in the behind the wheel of a warthog, they honk the horn, and you can get in the back of the warthog or the side of the warthog. Where when you play with strangers, sometimes they just get in the warthog and drive away, because they're not driving to engage with the enemy. They're driving to a position trying to get a spawn of a particular weapon that they want. So the vehicle is just a means to the end, not them trying to go capture the flag. Or they're going to just go by themselves and drive right into the base and die. And why would they do that? What are they even going to do when they get the flag? Come on, work with me, people. I don't want to play with randos. I almost said strangers. I meant randos. I don't want to play with randos. I want to play with my friends. Hot take. I like voice chat, and I don't like mean, shitty people being on voice chat with me. Yeah, I like voice chat with friends of mine. And even, you know what? I'll extend it. Friends of friends. Because sometimes those friends of friends, you're like, ooh. And sometimes you're like, all right, fine, whatever. Well, sure, whatever. I'm going to pretend I don't remember you in the future. But right now, you can say this thing that is just weird. You're not being racist, but you're being weird. And we'll just get through it because we wanted to have 8 people. And someone was like, well, you know, so-and-so's on my friends list. They're all right. Occasionally they're like, hey, my buddy's here and he's awesome. And I'm just like, cool. I'll take that. Oh, yeah, I had those friends of friends in games before. Yeah, where you're like, what are you talking about? Or they have like opinions on how the... Here's the thing. You can tell me that I made a poor choice. Maybe I shouldn't have gone for that gun. Maybe I should have played defense more, or I shouldn't be worrying about defense right now, or whatever. You can let me know that I maybe should have done something like that. But don't tell me that I shouldn't be dying as much as I am, because I can't help that. I can't die less. I can maybe get a few more kills in, but I'm gonna get shot by people a lot because I'm not good at Halo. So I'm gonna get owned pretty often. And that's just the thing that you have to accept because that happens in Halo. You lose in Halo. I'm trying to die less, I promise. Yeah. Also, yes, I'm John. I'm also not trying to die as much. Here's the thing. I have accepted that I will get a couple shotgun kills like out of nowhere, or I might run over someone with a vehicle. But here's the real reality. I'm going to be driving along in a vehicle and a friend's going to be on the back shooting stuff and it's going to go pretty damn great and be very fucking cool. And then someone's going to grapple hook me out of the vehicle and then either take over the vehicle and drive it to where other people are so they can shoot my friend who hasn't noticed that I got grapple hooked out of the vehicle, or they're going to then jump out of the vehicle and shoot my friend. That is just what's going to happen. And I can try to communicate like, oh, I'm not driving anymore. But it's not, that's just going to happen because people are very good with the grapple hook. And I don't see them coming. I just don't have the awareness that, oh, there's a person. I might be like, ooh, I'm going to try to drive into that person. And then I'll be like, oh, they are grapple hooking at me. Sometimes someone has grapple hooked to the vehicle and I have jumped out and started shooting where they're going to land. And I have actually killed someone that way. One time. Another time I ended up shooting my friend because the vehicle went wild and I was just trying to mow down the new driver. And I instead shot my friend in the passenger seat. And I did apologize for that. I was just, again, doing my best. Only needs to work once, yeah. I'm going to panel line this because we don't have a lot of time left in the stream. And we're not going to finish this other leg. So I at least want to panel line this piece because that way I don't have to do it later because it's easy to do now. It's easy to remove in and out. This will be the thing that falls out is this part here. But whatever. These legs are ridiculous because, as I said, they're not meant to be legs. Look at this thing. There's no foot on this. That's why you need the included stand, which I've talked about this before, how this is not clear. It's dark gray, and that's cool, and I will be using that in, displays like behind me. Eventually, I will remove the Lego bear that's over there, the Valentine's Day bear, and I will replace it with another model kit because this stand's pretty good. But I'm going to need it for this kit, so I might as well keep it until that. And maybe this kit will go on display. I don't know. But eventually, I'm going to need to put this on display because when these legs get attached, this kit will not be able to just lay down. And then it'll have a backpack and whole thing. And especially when I do the transformation, I'm going to want to have that look nice on a stand. So we'll see. All right. I'm going to clean that up. And then we'll talk. But yeah, next stream will be on Monday. I hope you come out for that. We'll be continuing on this kit. I don't think we're going to finish it because there is a lot of the shield and the backpack needs to get built and the weapons need to get built. So I think it'll be most of this. It'll be all of the next stream. I might go long on a Monday. I don't know. I haven't quite decided yet. St. Patrick's Day is next Thursday. No, nothing special about the stream other than it's my patron saint day, and I'll be streaming. I don't have any. I don't have like a St. Patrick's Lego or anything for that. I just will be streaming. When is? I'm looking up something right now. Sorry. We'll go to the intro there. 2022. Okay. Easter is April 17th. Great. Could not remember when Easter was. It is April 17th, if you were wondering, because it changes all the time. It's like PAX East. It's always at a different time. That's the 17th. That is great to know, because I will need a card for my mother. David's daylight savings time is tonight, Lord Crashton. 1:59 a.m. becomes 3 a.m. When the clock ticks over, we are giving back that hour from last year, from October of last year, where we gained an hour. Then we're giving it back, or whatever you want to, however you want to say it. It's fine. That is going to be the end of our stream. We are going to raid. That is how we end every stream, is with a good old-fashioned raid, where we go and share some love with somebody out there doing something in the community that we think is great. Generally, their communities are really fun. I hope to find someone who is going to be streaming for a while. It isn't wrapping up. Past me is screwing future me on my sleep. That's how I see it. I understand him, John. Yes. We need to fight the Time Lords to keep that hour for good. Look, I want to end daylight savings one way or the other, either forward or back, whichever. I want it to stop where there's 2 times a year where we just change the hours. I would love to not do that anymore, because it's very annoying to talk to people about it. I would love to get rid of it. I'm not going to run on it, but and every year, some states try to say we're not going to do it, and they legally, federally can't do that. Some states were able to opt out and have opted out, but they did that at the beginning of their life as a state, not just now, because the federal government doesn't want to deal with too many states not doing it. So they were like, no. You can't say no. You gotta. Unless you already said no. You had your window. Arizona doesn't have DST because they have enough sunlight as it is. Yes. But they also were like, we're not doing it. So they didn't. Oh, cool. I just realized my closed captioning is going on. Yeah, I got the captions plugin working in OBS. That's fun. Let's see. When did TQ start streaming? I just want to see when my friend TQ started streaming tonight. 2 hours ago. Okay. I think she'll be streaming for a while. We haven't rated TQ in quite some time because she hasn't been streaming in the evenings. And TQ absolutely 100% rules. So we're going to go give her a raid. Her community is absolutely lovely. She's playing some sort of tabletop game that is also a escape room. And I don't know anything about what she's doing, but she's absolutely fantastic. So we're going to go raid TQ because she's rad. So feel free to come along on this raid. Hope to see you on Monday as I continue this kit. I don't think we're going to finish it, but we're going to get damn close. So feel free to come along here. I will see you on the next one. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Have a great evening. Come along on this here raid. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye.